Chapter 10, The Rogue Bludger. Since the disastrous episode of the Pixies, Professor Lockhart had not brought live creatures to class. Instead, he read passages from his book to them, and sometimes reenacted some of the dramatic bits. He usually picked Harry to help him with these reconstructions. So far, Harry had been forced to play a simple Transylvanian villager whom Lockhart had killed from a babbling curse, a yeti with a head cold, a vampire who had been unable to eat anything except lettuce since Lockhart had dealt with him. Harry was hauled to the front of the class during the very next defense against the lesson, this time acting for a werewolf. If he hadn't had a very good reason for keeping Lockhart in a good mood, he would have refused to do it. Nice lad, how, Harry? Exactly. And then, if you'll believe it, I pounced like a slam. I slammed him to the floor. Thus, with one hand, I managed to hold him down. With my other, I put my wand to his throat. I then screwed up my remaining strength and performed the immensely complex homorphous charm. He let out a piteous moan. Go on, Harry. Higher than that. Good. The fur vanished, the fangs shrunk, and he turned back into a man. Simple yet effective. And another village will remember me forever as the hero who delivered them from the monthly terror of werewolf attacks. The bell rang and Lockhart got to his feet. Homework. Compose a poem about my defeat of Waggle Waggle Werewolf. Signed copies of Magical Me to the author of the best one. The class began to leave. Harry returned to the back of the room where Ron and Hermione were waiting. Ready? Harry muttered. Wait till everyone's gone, said Hermione nervously. All right. She approached Lockhart's desk. A piece of paper clutched tightly in her hand. Harry and Ron right behind her. Professor Lockhart, Hermione stammered. I wanted to get this book out of the library just for background reading. She held out the piece of paper, her hand shaking slightly. But the thing is, it's in the restrictions section of the library, so I need the teacher to sign it for it. I'm sure it would help me understand what you say in Getting with Goals about slow-acting venoms. Getting with Goals, said Lockhart, taking the note from Hermione and smiling wildly at her. Possibly my favourite books. You enjoyed it? Oh, yes, said Hermione eagerly. So clever the way you trapped the last one with the tea strainer. Well, I'm sure no one will mind me giving the best student in the year a little extra help, said Lockhart warmly. Lockhart said that because she's already the bestest in the class. So, yeah. And he pulled out an enormous piece of quill. Yes, nice, isn't it? He said, misreading the revolted look on Ron's face. I usually save it for book signings. He scored an enormous loopy signature on the note and handed it back to Hermione. So, Harry, said Lockhart, while Hermione folded the note with fumbling fingers and slipped it into her bag. Tomorrow is the first Quidditch match of the season, I believe. Gryffindor against Slytherin, is it not? I hear you're a useful player. I was a seeker too. I was asked to try for the national squad, but prefer to dedicate myself to the eradication of the dark forces. If you ever feel the need for a private training, don't hesitate to ask. Always happy to pass on my expertise to less able players. Harry made an instant noise in his throat, and then hurried off after Ron and Hermione. I don't believe it, he said, as the three of them examined the signature on the note. He didn't even look at the book we wanted. That's because he's a brainless skip, said Ron. But who cares? We've got what we've needed. He is not a brainless skip, said Hermione shrilly, as they half ran towards the library. Just because he said you were the best in the year. They dropped their voices as they entered the muffled stillness of the library. Madam Pince, the librarian, was a thin, irritable woman who looked like an underfed vulture. Mostanty, potion, she repeated suspiciously, trying to take the note from Hermione, but Hermione wouldn't let go. I was wondering if I could keep it, she said breathlessly. Oh, come on, said Ron, wrenching it from her grasp and thrusting it at Madam Pince. We'll get you another autograph. Lockhart will sign anything if it stands still long enough. Madam Pince held the note up to the light as though determined to detect the forgery, but it passed the test. She stalked away between the lofty shelves and returned several minutes later, carrying a large and mouldy-looking book. Hermione put it carefully into her bag, and as they left, trying not to walk too quickly or look too guilty. 5 minutes later, they were barricaded in Moaning Myrtle's out of order bathroom once again. Hermione had overridden Ron's objections by pointing out that it was the last place anyone in their right minds would go, so they were guaranteed some privacy. Moaning Myrtle was crying noisily in her cubicle, but they were ignoring her and she them. Hermione opened Mostanty Potion carefully, and it was the three of them bent over the damp spotted pages. It was clear from a glance why it belonged to the restricted section. Some of the potions had effects also almost too gruesome to think about, and there are some very unpleasant illustrations which included a man who seemed to have been turned inside out and a witch sprouting several extra pairs of arms out of her head. Here it is, said Hermione excitedly. As they found the page headed the polyjuice potion. It was decorated with drawings of people halfway through transforming into other people. Harry sincerely hoped the artist had imagined the looks of intense pain on their faces. "This is the most complicated potion I've ever seen," said Harry as they scanned the recipe. "Laceworm flies, leeches, fluxweed and knotgrass," she murmured, running her finger down the list of ingredients. "Well, they're easy to find. Well, they're easy enough. They're in the student store cupboard. We can help ourselves." "Ooh, look. Powdered horn of a bighorn. Don't know where we're going to get that. Shredded skin of a boomslang. That'll be tricky too. And of course, a bit of whoever we want to change into." "Excuse me," said one sharply. "What do you mean, a bit of whoever we're changing into?" "I'm drinking nothing with crabs, turtles in it." Hermione continued as though he hadn't heard him. We don't have to worry about that yet. Because we add those bits last." Ron turned speechless to Harry, who had another way. "Do you realise how much you're going to have to distill? Shredded skin over boomslang, that's definitely not in the student's cupboard." "Well, what we're going to do, break into Snape's private stores? I don't know if this is a good idea." Hermione shut the book with a snap. "Well, if you two are going to chicken out, fine," she said. My favourite part is like when she says, "Well, if you're going to chicken out, fine," because chicken out is like a really funny word, like just chicken out. She said. There were bright pink patches on her cheeks, and her eyes were brighter than usual. "I don't want to break any rules, you know. I think threatening Muggleborns is far worse than brewing up a difficult potion. If you don't want to find out its mouth, I'll go straight to Madam Pince now and hand the book back in. I thought I'd never see the day when you'd be persuading us to break rules," said Ron. All right, we'll do it. But not toenails, okay? How long will it take to make anyway? Said Hermione as Hermione, looking happier, opened the book again. "Well, as a fluxweed has got to be picked at the full moon, the laceworm flies have got to be stewed for 21 days. I'd say it would be ready in about a month if we can get all the ingredients." "A month," said one. "Malfoy could have attacked half the Muggleborns in the school by then." But Hermione's eyes narrowed dangerously again, and he added swiftly, "But it's the best plan we've got. So full steam ahead, I'd say." However, while Hermione was checking that the coast was clear for them to leave the bathroom, Ron muttered to Harry, "It will be a lot less hassle. You can just knock Malfoy off his broom tomorrow." Harry woke early on Saturday morning and lay for a while thinking about the coming Quidditch match. He was nervous, mainly at the thought of what Wood would say if Gryffindor lost, but also at the idea of facing a team mounted on the fastest racing brooms gold could buy. He had never wanted to beat Slytherin so badly. After half an hour of lying there with his insides churning, he got up, dressed, and went down to the half an hour of lying there with his inside churning. He got up and went down to breakfast early, where he found the rest of the Gryffindor team huddled at the long empty table, all looking uptight and not speaking much. As 11 o'clock approached, the whole school started to make its way to the Quidditch stadium. It was a muggy sort of day with a hint of thunder in the air. Ron and Hermione came hurrying over to wish Harry good luck as he entered the changing rooms. The team poured on the scarlet Gryffindor robes and then sat down to listen to Wood's usual pre-match pep talk. "Slytherin have better brooms than us," he began. "No point denying it, but we've got better people on our brooms. We've trained harder than they ever have. We've been flying in all weathers, too true," muttered George Weasley. "I haven't been properly dry since August. And we're going to make them rue the day that they let that bit of slime Malfoy buy his way onto the team." Chest heaving with emotion, Wood turned to Harry. "It'll be down to you, Harry, to show them that a seeker has to have something more than a rich father. Get to that snitch before Malfoy or die trying, Harry, because we've got to win today. We've got to." "So, no pressure, Harry," said Fred, winking at him. As they walked out onto the pitch, there was a roar of noise greeted them, mainly cheers, because Ravenclaw and Hufflepuff were anxious to see Slytherin beaten, but the Slytherin in the crowd made their boos and hisses heard too. Madam Hooch, the Quidditch teacher, asked Flint and Wood to shake hands, which they did, giving each other necessary threatening stares and gripping rather harder than necessary. "On my whistle," said Madam Hooch. 3, 2, 1. with a roar from the crowd to speed upwards. The 14 players rose towards the leading sky. Harry flew higher than any of them, squinting around for the snitch. "All right there, Scarhead," yelled Malfoy, shooting underneath him as though to show off the speed of his broom. Harry had no time to reply. At that moment, a heavy black bludger came pelting towards him. He avoided it so narrowly that he felt it ruffle his hair as it passed. "Close on, Harry," said George, streaking past him with his club in his hand, ready to knock the bludger back towards a Slytherin. Harry saw George give the bludger a powerful whack in the direction of Adrian Pusey, but the bludger changed direction in mid-air and shot straight for Harry again. Harry dropped quickly to avoid it, and George managed to hit it hard towards Malfoy. Once again, the bludger swerved like a boomerang and shot at Harry's head. Harry put on another burst of speed and zoomed towards the other end of the pit. He could hear the bludgers whistling along behind him. What was going on? Bludgers never concentrated on one player like this. If they dropped to try unseat as many people as possible. Fred Weasley was waiting for the bludger at the other end. Harry ducked as Fred swung at the bludger with all his might. The bludger was knocked off course. "That's done it," Fred yelled happily, but he was wrong. As though it was magnetically attracted towards Harry, the bludger pelted after him once more, and Harry forced to fly off at full speed. It had started to rain. He didn't have a clue what was going on in the rest of the game until he heard Lee Jordan, who's commentating, say, "Slytherin in the lead, 60 points to 0. The Slytherin's superior brooms were clearly doing their jobs, and meanwhile the mad bludger was doing all it could to knock Harry out of the air. Fred and George were now flying so close to him on either side that Harry could see nothing at all except their flailing arms, and had no chance to look for the snitch, let alone catch it. "Someone's tampered with this bludger," Fred grunted, swinging his bat with all his might as it launched a new attack on Harry. "We need time out," said George, trying to signal to Wood and stop the bludger breaking Harry's nose at the same time. Wood had obviously got the message. Madam Pooch's whistle rang out, and Harry, Fred and George dived to the ground, still trying to avoid the bludger. "What's going on?" said Wood as the Gryffindor team huddled together while Slytherin in the cloud jeered. "We've been flattened." "Fred, George, where were you when that bludger stopped Angelina scoring?" "We were 20 feet above her, stopping the other bludger murdering Harry, Oliver," said George angrily. Someone's fixed it. It won't leave Harry alone. It hadn't gone for anyone else in the game. The Slytherins might have done something to it. But the bludgeons have been locked in Madame Hooch's office since our last practice, and there was nothing wrong with them then, said Wood anxiously. Madame Hooch was walking towards them. Over her shoulder, Harry could see the Slytherin team jeering and pointing in his direction. Listen, said Harry, as she came nearer and nearer. With you two flying round me all the time, the only way I'm going to catch a snitch is if it flies up my sleeve. Go back to the rest of the team and let me deal with the rogue one. Don't be fixed, said Fred. I'll take your head off. Wood was looking from Harry to the Weasleys. Oliver, this is mad, said Alicia angrily. You can't let Harry deal with that thing on his own. Let's ask for an inquiry. If we're going to stop now, we'll have to forfeit the match, said Harry. And we're not losing to Slytherin just because of a mad bludger. Come on, Oliver. Tell them to leave me alone. This is all your fault, George said to Wood. Get the snitch or die trying. What's a stupid thing to tell him? Madame Hooch had joined them. Resume to play, she asked. Wood looked at the determined look on Harry's face. All right, he said. Fred, George, you heard Harry. Leave him alone and let him deal with the bludger. The rain was falling more heavily now. On Madame Hooch's whistle, Harry kicked hard into the air and heard the telltale whoosh of the bludger behind him. Higher and higher Harry flew. He looped and swooped, spiraled and zigzagged, and rolled. Slightly dizzy, he nevertheless kept his eyes wide open. Rain speckling his glasses and ran up his nostrils as he hung upside down, avoiding another fierce dive from the bludger. He could hear laughter from the crowd. He knew he must look very stupid. But the rogue bludger was heaving and couldn't change direction as quickly as he could. He began a kind of roller coaster ride around the edges of the stadium, squinting through the silver sheet of rain to the Gryffindor goalposts, where Adrian Pusey was trying to get past Wood. A whistling in Harry's ear told him the bludger had just missed him again. He turned right over and sped in the opposite direction. Training for the ballet, Potter, yelled Malfoy, as Harry was forced to do a stupid kind of twirl in mid-air to dodge the bludger. Off Harry fled. the bladder trailing a few feet behind him, and then glaring back at Malfoy in hatred. He saw it, the golden snitch. It was hovering inches above Malfoy's left ear, and Malfoy, busy laughing at Harry, hadn't seen it. That's all for today. Bye.